and welcome to Morning Coffee with Pizzan Academy. I'm Deanna, and today I want to talk to you about one of the first American writers to earn a living at his craft. This is Washington Irving. He was born April 3rd in 1783 and was named after George Washington, the Revolutionary War hero. In fact, he even attended Washington's inauguration as the first president of the United States. So Washington Irving was born to parents who were Scottish-English immigrants, and he was the youngest of 11 children. They lived in New York City, and so he was raised by this family, and he studied law and barely passed the bar exam, started to practice law, but really wasn't for him. He worked in publishing, he did some writing, he was an editor, and then he went to Madrid where he was a U.S. diplomat. He actually served 2 different periods in that post, several years apart. In between, he went over to England and to Liverpool to try to help save his family's import-export business, but wasn't able to. Throughout these times, he continued to write, though, and it was during a time in England that he published his very well-known Sketchbook. In 1819, while he was in England, he sent a set of writings to his brother in New York to publish them, and they were called the Sketchbook of Geoffrey Crayon, Gentleman. These were a collection of stories that he's very well known for even through today, which include Rip Van Winkle and The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Included in this was also an account of a traditional English Christmas. And these are the stories that really brought a lot of the Christmas traditions to the United States, but also influenced people in England. The sketchbook was extremely popular and set the course for him to be able to be a writer and earn a living doing that. These stories were published in installments, and the 5th installment included Stories of Christmas, where there were 5 different stories of Geoffrey Crayon's experience of a traditional English Christmas during this time period in the 1820s. The stories are set in Bracebridge Hall, a fictitious house that's based on the Holt mansion where he spent Christmas. In this first story, he reflects on the meaning of Christmas and the services in the church during the season of Advent until they break forth, in quote, in full jubilee on the morning that brought peace and goodwill, end quote. He also remarks that the older traditions of merriment and Christmas celebrations have been sort of tossed away because of this being a time of more refinement and manners and customs being a lot more low-key. The second story, The Christmas Coach, talks about Crayon traveling by stagecoach and how the kids and the families rush up to the coach, excited to see families that are visiting and pets, and it's just a really exciting, jubilant time. When he arrives by coach, he's invited back to Bracebridge Hall and joins the family in their traditional festivities. The third story, titled Christmas Eve, talks about all the fun and merriment and music and dancing that the family celebrates on the day before Christmas. After a very large breakfast of a traditional English fare, they go to church and they hear a really nice sermon, and then they go back to the house where they have dancing and merriment and spend the day just celebrating Christmas. The 5th and last story is titled Christmas Dinner, and this is a time when they go into the great hall in the house and the fire is crackling and they have a splendid meal of several courses and everything is just filled with joy and merriment, and he has a wonderful quote that kind of sums up the season. If I can now and then penetrate through the gathering film of misanthropy, prompt a benevolent view of human nature, and make my reader more in good humor with his fellow beings and himself, surely, surely, I shall not then have written entirely in vain. In 1876, these stories were published together in a volume called Old Christmas as a tribute to Washington Irving. They were bound in a green leather binding with gold gilding, and it was just a wonderful remembrance of this great American writer. So these stories by Washington Irving have influenced the way we celebrate Christmas and our merriment for the season, and just that idea of goodwill and benevolence in this wonderful Christmas time. Charles Dickens is even noted for saying that these stories by Washington Irving influenced him, and then his influence has even gained more popularity. If you're enjoying our videos, please like, share, hit the notification bell, subscribe to our channel. We also have links to our other social media in the description below. Have a wonderful day, and however you're celebrating the weekend before Christmas, whether you're celebrating Christmas or not, enjoy the season of merriment, and we'll see you next time.